Boker Tov, Shavua Tov, or rather Chodesh Tov. Shavua Tov was already a couple of days ago. Today, Daf is Daf Yud Beis. In Baba Comments, we learned from Chemical Basis Shah Summa Sarah Shivya. We're about 12 lines down on the page. Daf Yud Beis and Rav. What's the discussion? Yesterday we had this. The end of the top. The end of the Daf was about is avodim knanim, are they like karka or not? Normally we know if you make a kinyan on karka, you could be kona any metalton with them, with the karka, wherever they are, without making a specific kinyan on the metalton. That's how it works. It's called the kinyan agav. If you acquire karka and metalton, you can make a kinyan on the karka, that's with kesef shtar chazaka, and you acquire the metalton with it. But we know that avodim knanim min Torah have a halacha like karka, because they're hookish to karka. Every knani is hookish to karka. So the question is that the same as karka in terms of rules? For example, we discussed yesterday, if a man dies and he left karka to his children, and that karka was mortgaged to a lender, the lender can come and take the karka from the yisomim. He can't take cash from them. He can't take metal, but he could take karka. What about kananim? Evet kanani. Isn't evet kanani like karka that he could take or not? So we had a machlokus about it. So yesterday, that was the discussion yesterday. So now the Gemara says, Leimika Tanoi, 12 lines down on Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph. Maybe this machlokus, whether avodim kananim are like karka or not, is a peta machlokus tanon. Machlo avodim bekarkos. Let's say Reuben sold Shimon karka and evet kanani. Hichzik v'avodim. And you made a kinyan on the bottom, lo kana karka. You don't kind the karka with that. The karka lo kana avodim. In other words, yes, if you kind the karka, you acquire metalfin, but not evet. Karkos umetalfin. If you acquire karka metalfin, we said before, that's a classic kinyan agav. Ichsup karka kana metalfin. You make a kinyan of the karka, you acquire the metalfin lo kana karka. So the only way it works is if you kana karka, you can kana metalfin with it. But if you're kana karka, or you call them metalfin, you can't get the karka with that. If you kona karka, you're not kona the avodim with it. And if you kona the avodim, also it doesn't work. Right? Karka metalfin, karka kona metalfin, metalfin kona karka. Avodim metalfin. Now, let's say you were kona an evet kanani. We said evet kanani is like karka. If you kona avodim metalfin, ichzik avodim lo kona metalfin. It doesn't work like karka. If you kona karka, you get the metalfin with it. If you kona avodim, you don't get the metalfin with it. And certainly metalfin kind of on if you're kind of metalfin kind of bottom. So here you see, like the shita that we discussed yesterday, that was arguing with. Remember, he said Rav Nachman said to Ula, "What do you mean? You say that even avodim you could even get from yisomim, meaning that avodim are like karka. I hold that avodim are not like karka." So here you see avodim not like karka. Why? Because if you kona karka, you get metalfin. If you kona avodim, you don't get the metalfin with it, according to this brisa. So that's one tana. Avodim metalfin, avodim lo kona metalfin. Vatanya, we learned hichsik avodim kona metalfin. We had another brisa which said that if you kona the avodim, you do get the metalfin. Others avodim are like karka. So are avodim like karka? Now we have two different opinions. Mine la baka mifkuli. Maybe that's machlokas. Demar saba avodim kama karka. The second opinion holds that avodim is like karka, right? That if you kona metaltlin, if you kona avodim, you get the metal. Just like if you kona karka, you get the metaltlin. If you kona avodim, also you get the metaltlin, right? The marsav avodim kama karka dummy, or marsav avodim kama metaltlin dummy. Not avodim is like metaltlin. You might say if avodim is like metaltlin, why did that first brisa say that if you kona the karka, you don't get avodim with it? If avodim is like metaltlin, so the Gemara is going to explain this later on that. There's a reason for it, because you only kona metalfin which don't move, whereas avodim move, so you don't get anything. So the point though is we have two different opinions here. The marsav avodim kama karka holds avodim is like karka, so therefore if you kona avodim you can get metalfin with it. Marsav avodim right, marsav avodim kama metalfin dummy. So if you kona avodim you can't get metalfin with it. If you kona metalfin you certainly can't get other metalfin with it. Amar Ravika Bereit Rav Ami. So two answers. One way is Ravika Bar Ami said no, the kulam avodim karka. Everybody else out about him is like karka, like we said, the Ulam, Rav Lazar, and the other opinions there that we said, Rav Chana Bar Bisna and Pumbedisa, and the Dayani and the Adam and Arda, that Evet is like karka. Right? I Vahadatanya Kana Shapir. Okay, so the one who says that if you kona metaltlin, kona avodim, you get the metaltlin with it, that works out good because avodim is like karka. Just like with karka, if you kona karka, you get the metaltlin. If you kona avodim, also you get the metaltlin. That works out well. What about the brisa that says lo kana? The first brisa that we said that if you're kona that hichzik bavadim hichzik bavadim lo kana metaltlin. That's what we said. The first brisa said, right? The first brisa said karka avodim metaltlin hichzik bavadim lo kana metaltlin. Why don't you get the metaltlin if avodim is like karka? Vadatanya lo kana being in karka dimi the or mitzuros the Yehuda. Even though he says that an eved is like karka, and if you're kona eved, you should be able to come metaltlin. But if it's got to be karka, which is like the fortified cities in Yehuda, the low 90 that are not movable. In other words, the Gemara doesn't say specifically here, but it could very well be that if you had an eved that was, let's say, anesthetized and sleeping and tied up, and he couldn't move, then maybe if you were kona that eved, maybe you could get metaltlin with it according to this, because they're saying the brisa says lo kona. The brisa that says if you kona that bottom, you don't get the metaltlin. That's because he holds yes, a karka. Truth is an eved is like karka, but it's got to be something that's immovable. Why is that? The Tanan we learned the chasam shein the machrayas, things that have no guarantee, like that means metaltlin. Nickname the chasam sheish machrayas can be acquired with the chasam sheish, which is karka. But guess of shtar chazaka. That's how you acquire karka. But how do we know? Because the pasuk says the father gave them matanos rabos, many gifts. The kesef azov for silver and gold, the magdanos and precious items. Im arei mitzuras bihuda, with the fortified cities of Yehuda, as if to say that it's got to be like the cities. That's how you learn on Kinyan Aga from there. So, in other words, according to the first opinion, we're saying now everybody holds that eved is like karka. So, if an eved is like karka and you're kona eved, you should be able to come metaltlin. But the one who says if you're kona eved, you don't get the metaltlin, it's because he holds that the eved has to be immovable. Ikana Amri, based on this pasuk. Amri, some say Amr the other way. Calling Alma eved metaltlin dummy. Everybody else has metaltlin like Rav Nachman wanted to say. That eved is like metaltlin, and therefore normally if you kona an eved, you don't get metaltlin. Hadatah you lo kona shopper. So the one who says if you're kona the eved, you don't get the metaltlin, that works out good. He also eved is like metaltlin. It's not like karka, and therefore if you kona one metaltlin, you can't get another metaltlin. Hadatah you kona what are you going to do with the brisa that says that if you're kona eved, you do get metaltlin? But odan alav, you're only kona the items, the metaltlin that are on the body of the eved. As he said, if you kona the eved, you do get metaltlin, not other metaltlin, not kinyan agav, but rather things that are on him himself, either that he's wearing or that he's holding, and therefore it works because the eved is like your chatzer, and your kona whatever is in your chatzer, so it's like it's in his possession. So what if they're on him? It's not a real chatzar because it's a chatzar which is walking around. This thing we learned out that your chatzar is kona for you. That's only if it's stationary, it's attached and it's on the ground. But if it's moving around, it doesn't work. Maybe he's standing still. Rav says if he would walk, he wouldn't work because it wouldn't work. The kinyan wouldn't work because it's chatzar melechas. In other words, as long as he has the ability to get up and walk around, the fact that he's standing still or sitting doesn't help. So it's still a chatzar melechas havnikana. The hilchos of the halach is because we have this in many places in Shas. And Gemara says, well, if the eved is, let's say, sleeping and tied up and he can't move, then it would work because al chatzar. But still, according to this answer, eved is like metaltlin, and therefore, if you can't have it, you don't get metaltlin with it. When would it work? It would work only if the eved is like your chatzar. If he's sleeping and tied up, then whatever's on the eved's person, then it's like it's in your chatzar. But normally, if you kona an eved, you don't get metaltlin with like karka. Karka, if I'm kona karka over here, I can be kona metaltlin anywhere in the world with it. That's a kinyanaga. But an eved wouldn't work that way. Tanya. So we've more or less resolved, and we said, look, either you hold that eved is like metaltlin or it's not. Right? It's not necessarily a machlokas. It could be everybody holds one way or another way. You can explain these things away. But the first brisa did say they were talking about if you kona karka, you get metaltlin. If you kona metaltlin, you don't get karka. If you kona eved, you don't get metaltlin. Kona metaltlin, you certainly don't get. What about if you kona karka? Would you get eved with that? So we said if you kona karka, you don't get the eved with that. Another brisa said that if you kona the karka, you do get the avadim. Why is that? It says Hasam ba'om de metocha. They're speaking about where the avadim were standing on the property. In other words, we're saying that normally if you get karka, you don't get the metalpa, you don't get the avadim with it. But here the avim were standing on the karka. So machlal the high low kana. So the first price that said that if you're kona the karka, you don't get the avodim with it. Chainum, they're not standing with what? They're not standing there. This was good according to the first lashon of Ravika, Dam Ravika, Ravami, Abdika Metatlan Dami. Like the second lashon where he said everybody holds evidence like metalflin. Hainu, it makes sense. The yom the metocha, and if the avodim are standing in evidence like metalflin. So if the evid are standing on the karka and you kona the karka, you get the evid with it. Ilolo, but if he's not standing on there, it doesn't work. That's how we're explaining the difference in the prices. If the evid's standing on the karka, if the evid's not standing on the karka, okay, then it doesn't work. Why? Makes good. You say evid's like metalflin. If he's standing on the karka, it works. If he's not standing, not. But according to the first lush that we said, that Ravika said that evidence like karka. Why do you say that if you acquire the karka, it works to acquire the slaves too if they're standing on there? When it comes to karka, they don't have to be together. Let's say I sold you 10 real estate. We were both in real estate, and I sold you 10 pieces of property in 10 different countries, 10 different lands. As soon as you kind of one of them, kind of kulan. So you see that it doesn't have to be standing. You're not standing on top of it. And as if you say that it is like karka, so why do you say it only works if you corner the karka, you corner the evid if they have it standing there? Karka, they don't have to be standing together. Karka could be in 10 different places at all. One kidney works for all of them. So you say it's good if you hold it as metalflin and dummy. Why? Because then if you're standing there, if they have it standing on the karka, then when you corner the karka, you get the evid. If you don't standing there, not. Why do you have to stand in there? We learn Hakaim and Globin and Saburim. We learn this, and we say that if I get the karka, I get the metalflin with it. It doesn't metalflin has to be standing there. Remember, that's how we said that. That by Pesach, if the guy's out of town, how does he sell the chametz? You sell him a little inch of your step of your house, or the threshold of your house, and then you get all the chametz that he owns all over the place. It doesn't have to be sitting on there too. So I'm loving and so what's this idea that you only kona the metalflin if it's on the karka? No, it doesn't have to be there. So what difference does it make if the animal's standing there? We still have this problem. In one brisa we say karka lo kana bottom. Another brisa says bottom kana bottom. What do you mean? What does that mean? Kana bottom. Why? Because it's karka. Karka doesn't have to be. You said the answer is that in this case it's kana the avodim when the avodim are standing on the karka. What difference does that make? Whether it's metalflin, whether it's karka, when you kona the thing, the kinyan, you kona agav, the other thing, when you kona karka and you get either metalflin or karka with it, they don't have to be standing there. The only answer is shiny metalflin, the difference is metalflin, which is movable, versus moving, which is immovable. Because when I kona karka, I get metalflin, which is not movable. But if I kona karka, I want to metalflin, which is movable, like the eved, it doesn't work unless the eved is on the karka that I'm acquiring. So hochanami shani mekarka and not mekarka. The same thing with karka. The difference of karka, which is movable, which is movable. What's the difference? Abda mekarka nadi. Evet is like karka, but it's karka which is movable, and movable doesn't work. If I kona one, I'm not kona the other one. Awesome sadna darachadu. But when it comes to the land, if I kona property, real estate in 5 different countries, they're all attached. It's all one block of earth. It's one clump of earth because all the entire earth is attached to one another. It's not like it's movable. You can move the place from one to another. It's all attached all the way deep down. It's attached. So therefore, if I'm kona karka, one piece of karka, I can kona many karka. I made a deal for 10 pieces of real estate. I made a kinyan on one, kesef shtar chazaka. I can kona all of them. And that's how we're describing here also. Hichse bekarka kona avadim. When you kona the bottom, only if it's standing on the on that karka. Why does it stand on the karka? Whether it's metalflin, whether it's or whether avodim or metalflin, or whether they're karka, either way, they should be nikna agav the first piece of karka that I'm kona with kinyan agav. Either because if I'm kona one piece of karka, I get all of them, or if it's metalflin, it works also that way. The answer is that only works if it's not movable. Since the evid is movable here, it only works if the evid is standing on the karka that I'm acquiring. Now the Mishnah said back in the Mishnah on Testament Beis, rather said over there that what items do I have to when do I have to pay for nizakim? When do I have to pay for damages? My animal damages your animal, right? When do I have to pay? Only nechasim shein b'mila. assets that there's no inyan of sacrilege. Now the Pashut Pshat, that means that if it's kadosh, if it's hekdesh, I don't pay for that. Why? Because it says my friend, my colleague, right, my fellow Jew, not it belongs to hekdesh. So he says nechasim shein b'milah. So why don't you say nechasim of hekdesh? You say I'm not chayiv in nechasim of hekdesh. Maybe if I damage them, I might be chayiv for me'ilah, I might be chayiv for other things. But I don't have to pay hekdesh for damages that my animal does to hekdesh. So why doesn't it say nechasim shel hekdesh, nechasim she'enim shel hekdesh? Why is it nechasim she'enim me'ilah? Me'ilah huda lesbu. There's no me'ilah ha'mekdesh kach. It's mashma that there could be some kind of hekdesh, which I am chayiv to pay. I'm chayiv to pay if I do damage to your to hekdesh, even though there's no me'ilah there. In other words, me'ilah huda lesbe. Why don't you just say I'm chayiv on items that are not kadosh, right? If an item is kadosh, I'm not chayiv there. Why don't you say that? Why do you say in a chasim that there's no me'ilah? You know why? Because there's some things where there's no me'ilah, but it still is hekdesh, and I'm chayiv there too. Me'ilah huda lesbu. Oh, mekdesh kachi. It could be kosher. You could have an item which is kadosh, which is hekdesh, but there's no me'ilah. How's that? Montana, who's the author of this idea? Amar Rav Yochanan, the kachim kalam, the kachim kalam are things like ashlamim, toda, things of that sort. We'll talk later on if it's about a bechor and maser. But kachim kalam belong to the owner before their shechita. After shechita, there's only me'ilah in them on the emurim once you did shechita gabal lachas rika. So I'm Rabbi Yochanan kachim kalam, believe Rabbi Yosegli, Damar Maman Balam. He holds that kachim kalam belongs to the owner. In other words, let's say I decide one day I want to bring a carbon. Not a chatas that I sinned that I have to bring, or an asham that I sinned, but I want to bring not an ola, because an ola is kachim, but I want to bring a shlamim. I want to bring a nice what they call a peace offering. You can eat it for 2 days and a night. I want to bring a kachim kalam. So we'll see that according to Rabbi Yossi Galili, it really belongs to me. It's kadosh, but it's still mine. Okay, in what sense? And that's what we're saying over here too. Since it's still mine, let's say I give this animal to somebody to watch, and he's negligent, he has to pay for it. He did damage to my animal. He has to pay, but it's kadosh. Yes, kadosh, but it still belongs to me until it's geshach, until it's slaughtered. It belongs to me, the owner who made it. I'll leave it. Right? That's Rabbi Yosef Lulishit. The Amar Mom and Bal the Tanya. Umal Bashem. The Rabbis Kachim Kal Persik talks about it. Let's say you gave your item. You gave an animal. It says Bashem bekichesh mamiso. You deny it. You deny that you took it from me. You deny that you were negligent. Whatever it was, you lied about it, and then you're mowed afterwards. So you have to bring a carbon asham, right? To bring kosher, you have to pay 125%. That's what it says. What are we speaking? Since it says Bashem bekichesh bamiso, we're talking about something which has Hashem in it, meaning it's holy, and yet it belongs to me. So Malo Bashem, the Rabbis Kachim Kalim, to include Kachim Kalim like a Shlamim, Shein Memora, it belongs to the individual, to the Baal, it doesn't belong to Ekdish. Okay, so therefore that's what our Mishnah is speaking about. It says, when am I chayiv nezakim? Things that there's no me'ilah. Why don't you just say things that there's no hegdish? The answer is it's possible that it's hegdish, but there's still no me'ilah. How is that? Like a shlamim that a person was makdish. It's kadosh, yet there's no me'ilah there until there's only me'ilah in the emurim after Zrika Saddam. So, therefore, he says, Ma'alav Shem l'Rabbos Kachim Kalim Shein Memono that belong to Divrei Rabbi. So our Mishnah is going to Rabbi Yosef Glila according to this. I but let me learn. You're saying it belongs to you. HaMakadosh Bechalko. If you're Makadosh a Kohen, let's say, take some of the meat that he got from a carbon. He's entitled to the meat there. Bechalko Bein B'Kachim Kachim Bein B'Kachim Kalim. Whether it's Kachim Kachim or Kachim Kalim, meaning whatever kind of carbon it was. Obviously, let's say a chatas or an osham, kachim that belongs to the Kohen, or a carbon mincha also the Kohen would get bein b'kachim kalim, right? Or it's kachim kalim. Now kachim kalim could also be the mammon. It could be eaten by the balam. But the point is, if you're makadosh with that in mekudeshes, when you're makadosh in isha, what's the key? It's got to be worth a shavar puta, and it has to be yours. You have to give her something, right? You have to give her something. You can't be mekadosh nisha with something which isn't yours. So how can you say Rabbi Yossi Glili says that what? That if you're a kachim kalim like a shlamim belongs to the balim, belongs to the owner, and therefore the rules of nezikin apply, and you'd be chayiv to pay if you damaged a shlomim like that belongs to Yankel, we say Makash, if it belongs to him, why wouldn't we be able to Makash Nisha with them? Makash Bechalko, Makash Kachim, Makash Gam, Enam Kadeshis. Why not? If it belongs to Yankel, who is Makdashit, why shouldn't be Makash Nisha with it? Or a Kohen who had the meat now. This doesn't go like a Rav Seglili. Because according to Rav Seglili, it belongs to you. It says more feel to Rav Seglili like Rav Seglili also. Kiyam Rav Seglili Machayim. Rav Seglili says that the animal belongs to you while the animal is not yet slaughtered. You were makdish this shlomim. You brought it as a carbon. So as long as it's still not slaughtered, it belongs to you. It's considered yours. And if somebody does damage to it, or somebody lies about it, and they took it, you gave it to somebody to watch, and he was nichshel and he stole it, he did something with it, and he lied about it, and then he was moda, it's considered re'eu. It's yours. After it's slaughtered, everybody, then it's not yours anymore. I feel that when you're eating this, whether it's the Kohen eating, let's say, the chaz of a shok, or the Balaam eating the rest of the meat, you're eating God's meat. You're at God's table. It's like if you go to somebody's house and eat their food, it's not your food. You're eating their food, right? You don't own the food. The same thing over here. When you're eating the carbon after it was slaughtered and you prepare the food, you're eating God's food. It's not yours. Therefore, you can't be mekadosh nisha with it. If he was, understand? If the animal was still alive, I was makdish the shlom. I'm going to bring it as a carbon. I said, you know what? I'd like to give it to this lady and be mekadosh with it. That would work because it's mine. The animal's still mine. But after it's slaughtered, ready to be eaten, then it belongs to God. Says the Gemara. Anybody could eat it.
The part that I can eat.
Yeah, anybody could eat. That's right. But they're still not eating yours. But it doesn't belong to you. Correct. Doesn't belong to you. Says the Gemara. But while the animal's alive, then it's considered yours according to Rav Seglili. It says the Gemara. Did Rav Seglili even say that when the animal's alive, it really belongs to you? But Tom, you learn the following. Listen to this case. Bechor. Notice we're talking about a bechor. We're not talking about a shlomim, because this is going to be the key to the end. A bechor is kadosh when merechemimo. Bechor bisman azeh, right? Mochano sotamcha. What do you do if you have a bechor today? We've discussed this many times. That today, if you have a farm, you have to make sure you have a goyish partner, so there's no kedusha on the firstborn male animals of a short kesef or ace. Otherwise, they belong to the base of mikdash, belong to the kohen. You bring it as a carbon. So bisman azeh. What do you do if you have? Let's say you didn't do that. You just bought a farm and you own a farm now, and the animal, firstborn. What do you do with the bechor? So tamcha, you could sell it to a kohen. Now the bechor ultimately belongs to the kohanim. In the time of the base meat, you should bring it as a carbon. Then they could eat it, but it belongs to the kohen. So bechor mochano so tamcha, even if it's unblemished, you could sell it alive. But if you shechted it, you're not allowed to. It's kachim shechted b'chutz. It has to be buried. Can't do anything with it. But if it's alive, you could sell it to a kohen, and he could wait till it gets a mum. When it gets a mum already, he could shecht it and eat it. It belongs to him. Below shachet. Ubal mum, if it has a mum, chai v'shachet, you could even sell it to the kohen, even slaughtered, because he can eat it now. It belongs to kohen. It doesn't belong to you. Umekachin bo'asa isha. Listen to this, right? Belongs to the kohen. He can be kadosh nisha with it. That's b'chor bismanazeh. Like Rabba, since you can't bring it as a carbon, there's no base of mikdash. The kohanim own it. The kohanim own it. The kohanim own it. They can acquire it to eat it when it gets a mum, or they can kadosh nisha with it. It belongs to them. Where the base mikdash was around, when what are you supposed to do with this b'chor? Bring it as a carbon, right? The chazi like Rabba, it's fit to bring it as a carbon low. Then the kohen can't be mekadosh nisha with it, right? Can't mekadosh nisha with it. This sounds like, right, not like the chorlat like Rav Seglili, the Eisvei, Rabbi of Nachman, and Rabbi asked Rav Nachman, what do you mean? It says the pasuk Mala Baal Hashem. We said that pasuk, it's Mala Baal Hashem, and you commit a sin against God, the kichesh b'miso, and you deny it and all that. L'Rabbos kachakam shem modativ Rav Seglili. Says that that's included kachim column that if you damage it, you have to pay, and if you lie about it, etc., it's considered re'eu. That even though it belongs to God, it also belongs to this person. It's motiv Rav Seglili. So what do you mean over here? And what are we talking about? The pasuk talking about when there is a base of mikdash, right? The pasuk talking about there's a base of mikdash, you have to bring a carbon. Rav Shapiro says even when the Beis Hamikdash was around, it belonged to you. You said, oh, what happened? Rav Nachman said, Ravua, that only is Bisman Beis Hamikdash. But Bisman Beis Hamikdash, when it's right to be fit, then that Bisman Beis Hamikdash, then the Kohen doesn't own it. I Rav Yossi is talking about Moab Hashem, it's mashma, even when the Beis Hamikdash was around, Kohen owns it. Mashani Ravina says, oh, I'll tell you what. When Rav Yossi Glili says that even at the time of the Beis Hamikdash, your Makdish Shlomim, it belongs to you. That's speaking about a Bechor b'chutz la'aretz. The question was, if a Bechor is born in chutz la'aretz, what do you do with it? Some say it's no in your kedusha, it's in chutz la'aretz. Rav Shimon said, Bechor b'chutz la'aretz, Rav Shimon the Amar, in bo tamimim, if it's brought into Eretz Yisrael as a tamim, you can bring it as a carbon. If you brought it there, in bo and the chachilo, you're not mechuyev to bring it from New York. You don't have to bring your firstborn short kesser ways to the Beis Hamikdash. In bo and the chachilo, no, there's a chachil, you don't have to bring it. If you don't have to bring it, even Bisman Beis Hamikdash, right? The question was, Rav Yossi was talking about Bisman Beis Hamikdash belongs to you. He says, it's speaking about a Bechor in chutz la'aretz. What are you going to do with the Bechor in New York? You can't schlep it to, wouldn't even survive the trip in those days, right? So what are you going to do with it? You don't have to bring it there. Since it's not fit to bring it as a carbon, it belongs to you. Otherwise, if it's fit to bring it, it wouldn't belong to you. Wait a minute. If Rav Yossi Galili was simply saying that it's yours mechayim and not lachamisa, so lishnei Rav Yossi Galili Rabbanan say very simple. Rav Yossi Galili holds that it's yours, and Rav Nachman who said lo shal b'chor bisman hazeh, the kiva it's not right for a krava, but in the time of the Beis Mikdash, it's not yours. So he argues with Rav Yossi Galili. If you say Rav Yossi Galili says it belongs to you mechayim, even at the time when it was a Beis Hamikdash, why does he have to give Ravinas to give this answer? Well, even at the time of Beis Hamikdash, it's a Bechor b'chutz la'aretz. What are you talking about? Yossi Glili holds mechaim while the animal's alive, it belongs to you. You've got a shenisha with it. The rules of Nezikin apply. The pasuk applies to it. Just say that's what Yossi Glili holds. It belongs to the individual, to the owner, to Yankel who was makdish. Rav Nachman doesn't hold like him. The answer is, he says, Matanas Kuna, you're talking about Matanas Kuna, which is Bechor. Bechor is one of the 24 things that go to the Kohen, like a Chazav B'Shoka B'Shlamim and Bechor. Shiny Matanas Kuna, Dechi Kazachu, Mishulcha Gavah Kazachu. Rabbi Yosef Lili, who says that you're makdish an animal like a Shlamim, it belongs to you until it's slaughtered. That's only by something that you were makdish, but not something which is a Matanas Kuna, which automatically goes to the Kohen. Because anything which automatically goes to like a Bechor, that's Mishulchan Kavah. So therefore, that's why Rav Nachman said this: if you have a Bechor, Bechor Tam and Balchai Mim Yikav Shachet Krashas Nisha, that's only Bisman Azeh. There's a Beis Hamikdash. When there's a Beis Hamikdash, then the Kohanim can't do it. You know why? Because a Bechor is not like a regular Shlom. They're both Kachim Kalim, but a Bechor is automatically belongs to the Kohen. So you could say Mishulchan Kavah Kazachu, he can't be makdish with a Bechor. When there was a Beis Hamikdash, even according to Rabbi Yossi Glili, a Bechor would not belong to the Kohen because God gave him this. Who's the Bechor? Hashem said to the Kohen, you get to eat the Bechor. Fine, but you're eating God's food, you're not eating your own. That's opposed to Yankel, who was makdish Shlomim, and that Shlomim belongs to him until such time as it's slaughtered. That's what it says. Matanas Kuna Kamet, Shani Matanas Kuna, take a look at Rashi in the second line. Matanas Kuna Kamet, Bechor Me'esrim Rabba Matanas Kuna. It's one of the 24 Matanas Kuna. Behilkach, Ukma Ravina, Lahad Rav Nachman, Rav Yosef Glili, the Yunami Mod, even Rav says Modabaha, the Cholzman Shabayis Kayam, Mishulchan Gavah Zachal Kohanim, Afilu Machayim, Bechikam Rav Yosef Glili, Mom and Bailam, when does he talk about? Bishlamim Kamar, the Bailam Yisrael. Lo zachlu mechayim mishulchan gavoa. While the animal's alive, it belongs to you. V'adativs rabbeinu libasigu b'chor b'chutz la'aretz. V'lotivs b'shlamim mishum the sefer mochiach the b'chor. Kamar speaking about b'chor as a smash over here. Tomorrow's is going to discuss this more in detail. This concept of sacrilege or committing a sin where you're chayav for nezikin, you're chayav for making a shvu in this case. Said Ma'al Hashem. And he denies it, and then he admits it. He first lied about it. You gave it to somebody to wash, and then he lied about it. And he said he didn't do any damage, and he did damage. He lied about the whole thing. He has to bring a carbon, etc. But you don't swear in karbanos. On kegdish, you don't swear. but this belongs to you, belongs to Yankel, who was Makdashit, then he does swear. That's the pasuk of Ma'al Hashem l'Rabbos Kachim Kam Shemon Devi Yasei Glu. Tomorrow we'll discuss this in more detail. Have a good day, everybody. Chodesh Tov.
Chodesh Tov, beautiful.